Hello everyone and happy Halloween. This is Andreas from Nordic Tarot. I'm bringing you a love reading for the month of November, and as the readings are general and trying to cover as many people as possible, there won't be a message for everyone. And I sincerely hope that there is a message for you, but kind of by design it's not possible for there to be one for everyone watching. And if you'd like more information about how to contact me for personal reading or what decks I use, you'll find all of that in the description box below. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your reading. Hey Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Rising. This time your underlying energy is the world. And the underlying energy is kind of the energy that's permeating throughout the entire reading, right? It's kind of informing a lot of the other cards. And the world is a completion card. It's the successful completion of a cycle. And it's that you're like getting close to the summit of the mountain, It's kind of, you're not entirely finished with something, but you're so close, like you're in the process of finishing this thing, right? Where you can like stand at the summit and look back like where you came from and all, like the mountain you climbed to get to where you are. And now you can also face forward and see the way down, that it's going to be a slope down, and you can kind of survey what's to come next and choose where to go and how to deal with what's ahead of you. And in your problem circumstance, or the heart of the reading, you have the Emperor, and the Emperor is now the Emperor. Yeah, he is a person who is in control. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's very good at what he does as well. And his motto is, it's my way or the highway. He's not very interested at all in what other people have to say or what they think about something, because he can just do it himself. Now, the flip side to the Emperor is that he can be very stubborn. He does, like I said, he does not like other people's input on how he does things or anything of that kind, or anything like that at all. But now what's crossing him is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is a card that is about like planting your seeds and how to tend to them, and like sustained effort. It can sometimes be about patience or feeling frustrated because you haven't seen a return on your efforts, right? So then, like, is this where you are right now with the Emperor, that you are in control and you used to just doing things on your own, but it's been a very sustained effort being like that. And I can even see it as being the more of the frustration aspect of the Seven of Pentacles with this. But I also see the new seeds being planted, and like, what kind of seeds do I plant? How do I tend to them? Where is this going? Because in your past you had the Devil, and the Devil can seem like kind of a scary card sometimes. It talks of what has power over you, what like habits or ways of being or thinking or doing do we have, and it can be like literal addictions. It can be alcohol or gambling, it can be those kind of very real things as well. But like I said, the Devil asks us what has power over us. And I feel like this is something you've been moving away from, or maybe you started the process of moving away from it in the past even. Because now then in the present, you've arrived at the energy of the Four of Swords, which is healing. It's taking a break. It's putting your swords down and kind of recuperating from whatever has happened. And then, if the Devil was in the past, you have these chains around you about like way of being, or that you feel like someone else has power over you maybe, or like an addiction, like I said. And the Devil can be about being stuck, about feeling chained down by these ways of being or addiction, etc. And then removing those or moving away from that can be, difficult. It can take a lot out of us, which is why I understand the Four of Swords being in your present. And I kind of want to connect the Emperor, Seven of Pentacles kind of energy to the Four of Swords. Like, maybe you have been healing and you have been resting, but maybe that's getting frustrating. Maybe you're like, well, I've been doing this for a long time, or for quite a while anyway. And are you not seeing any return on it? Are you feeling like you're never getting better, or that you're never getting over something? Because if we quickly jump ahead to the hopes and fears placement, you have the Three of Swords, which is like worrying about old issues, like that emotional baggage still being there. So that's why I kind of want to say that the Four of Swords is, even though it is taking a break and healing and recuperating, and that might be very nice, I can also understand if there's this frustration aspect to it. But then what this may lead on to in the future, the energy is the Eight of Wands, which I just feel everything just clears up. Because the Ace of Wands is very fast, it's clear communication, it's clear information, and it's also just a fast energy. It can be very overwhelming sometimes if you're not prepared for it, or, sometimes you get swept away by it. But if you are in a good place, especially then like after the Four of Swords, and you want things to move on and you want things to go faster, then the Eight of Wands kind of energy is a very appropriate energy, let's say, because it does clear things up, and you don't have to read between the lines. Everything is right there for you to absorb. And like I said, it can be communication, so that you might be talking to someone in emails and text messages. And I get the sense of everything being very clear cut. Now in your crowning energy, there is the Two of Swords, which kind of makes sense to me here, because the Two of Swords is a difficult decision. This is a difficult decision because we either don't have the information we feel like we require to make the choice, or it's something we don't necessarily want to look at. It's something, maybe a choice we just don't want to make. That it's like, oh, I don't really want to look at this, I'm just going to do something else, ignore this, don't want to see it right now. But it's also saying we might not be able to just hold off on this choice forever. That we can't hold these two swords up in perpetuity. And I do feel like this choice is kind of about moving on in a way, to really cut the devil energy off completely. And this might also be then the world in the underlying, that this is how you finish, how you complete this cycle, is by making this choice that's in the crowning energy with the Two of Swords. And I'm not saying it's easy. Like, sometimes I don't want to make it sound like, oh, just make a choice, just do this or the other, who cares? And of course that'd be easy for me to say anyway, because this isn't affecting me. This is your energy. This is what's happening to you. And, I have to be compassionate and understanding. It's like, this isn't easy. But like I said, in the future with the Eight of Wands, things just clear up. Things are so obvious and fast, and like, there isn't this patience or waiting. With the Seven of Pentacles there, it's the Eight of Wands. They are such opposing energies, especially if the Seven of Pentacles energy is affecting your current situation of the swords, the Four of Swords, I'm sorry, where you don't know where to plant your seeds or how to continue, or like where to put the effort maybe. But this brings us to your feelings, where you have the Five of Wands. So I'd like to immediately connect the Two of Swords and the Five of Wands. Because the Five of Wands can be, many different things. It can be petty squabbles, it can be competition, but it can also be inner turmoil. Like not knowing or not being sure, and kind of maybe being pulled in different directions as to what you think you should be doing, or how you feel about something. Sometimes it can be involving feeling guilty about something, or wanting to do something, but actually you're kind of heading toward this other thing. And the Two of Swords would make you feel things like that, like where you might be aware of these choices, but the inner turmoil that you're feeling is the inability or not wanting to make these choices. And I think it makes absolute sense. And with the Two of Swords being in your crowning, because of course your feelings is like where you're right now. Because of course your feelings are where you're at right now. How you're feeling, or what kind of energy you have within yourself. And I think it makes a lot of sense with the Two of Swords being in the crowning energy. And then the crowning being like advice or like a path forward. And I think this choice here, this difficult choice, very much just has a lot to do with this resolution, or the resolve of the Five of Wands, to get away from this inner turmoil you're feeling. And in your outside influence, you have the Hanged Man. And once again, I want to connect this with another card straight away, which is the future card of the Eight of Wands. Because the Hanged Man, this is someone who's purposefully hung themselves upside down for a different perspective. This is someone waiting for information, or waiting for some kind of enlightenment to come in, or like where they feel like they're kind of stuck in limbo, again, Two of Swords, until they have more information, perhaps. And like, how are these cards connected? Because the Two of Swords, the Eight of Wands, and the Hanged Man all feel very related to each other. Because the outside influence where the Hanged Man is, this is a placement. This is something that's already affecting your energies, but it's something that you might not necessarily have noticed yet. So even though it's affecting everything, you might not be aware of it yet. But this is the kind of place you might end up in, like you'll be the Hanged Man without this choice being made in the crowning energy. And I feel like, because like the Eight of Wands and the Hanged Man are both kind of future-ish energies, because like I said, even if the Hanged Man is now happening and affecting things, you haven't seen it yet, so that is still in the future for you. But then the Eight of Wands is also in the future, and I think the Hanged Man and the Two Swords are also very related, but because if you do make a choice, if there is a choice and you come down on either side and you're like, okay, this is my sword, then that sword is the Ace of Swords, which is victory through the truth. So it's saying that once you do make a choice here with the Two Swords, you'll have your truth. And the Hanged Man gets the information on the truth or the enlightenment that he needs to move on. And you end up in this Ace of Wands, like very clear, cut, fast communication, information, energy environment, right? So I think a lot of this kind of hinges on, I don't want to put so much pressure on it, but it kind of hinges on this Two Swords energy here, where this choice is very involved in this reading and about what it is and how things move on from there. And the thing is that you choose your truth, right? This is what's true to you. This is to do with your Four of Swords, how you're healing, how you're recuperating, how you're taking a break. This is to do with the Seven of Pentacles, how you plant your seeds, how you work, where you put the effort in, right? And then also like I said, the Hanged Man, and about satisfying that kind of energy as well. And like I said earlier, in your hopes and fears position, you do have the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords is like the emotional baggage card. This is something that's happened to us in the past and is still with us. Now, in the original Rider-Waite deck that I used to learn the tarot, the Three of Swords is depicted as a heart, a very red, healthy looking heart, with three swords stuck into it. But the swords, like, they haven't drawn any blood, or it doesn't look like it's a fresh wound, so it's then implying that they've been there for a while. These are known things that have been there and bothered you, or, the heart, or you spiritually, emotionally, for a very long time. And it makes sense to me that it is in the hopes and fears position, because you're now trying to heal yourself with the Four of Swords. You're trying to heal yourself, trying to get over something, but you're also worried at the same time that these issues are something you'll never be able to heal, which is a completely legitimate concern, of course. Because the Three of Swords is a very tough card to deal with. It's really is a tremendous kicker, where they can stick with us for such a long time, and we try our best to get over it, but it's just super difficult. But I just feel like you are on a path of healing, and things will clear up in the future with the Eight of Wands. I don't know. But then, in the outcome, the card you have is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is it can be someone who's bringing love or friendship. Like, that is kind of what the Knight of Cups does. Like, he's looking for someone to give his cup to. And this is the Ace of Cups that he's carrying, which is, emotional, a new emotional beginning, like emotional growth. This is kind of like, that's a love you feel when something just kind of springs up. It's also healing. It speaks of intuition in some cases. But I'm going to move on to your Oracle cards, and the first card you have, which is from the Oracle of E, is number 29, Gotten Aoi. And it reads, "Hope you can hear Bob Marley singing in the distance, because despite what appears to be a physical blip right now, every little thing's gonna be alright. This is a time of sweet, sweet healing, a time of renewal. Take a step back, put your feet up, and soak in the restorative power of the universe." Okay, so that is the Four of Swords. Like, that Oracle card is just the Four of Swords. This is healing, it's renewal, it's restoration, recuperation, just taking a break. And I feel like it's just focusing on that maybe there are a lot of things surrounding this, and what about this, and what about that, and oh, I gotta do this and that. Maybe this is what the Two of Swords is about. Maybe this is like actually focusing on just healing, or getting over things, or like this kind of restoration from whatever this devil energy was in the past. And your second Oracle card, which is from the Wisdom of the Oracle, is number 20, Imagine. And the essential meanings are turning imagination into manifestation, creative thought, visualization, the power of aligning imagery and feelings, creativity and illusions. And this also speaks to, like, I feel like the Seven of Pentacles and dispelling the power that the devil had over you in the past. And this is, you know, like the card says, about imagining yourself, like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What's your manifestation? With the Four of Swords, are you sitting here, you know, trying to heal yourself, but you're imagining places you can be, and like within yourself or in the physical world, you know, places you can be or go to, and how you might feel when you've done this healing. And it's talking about turning that kind of thought into manifestation and kind of changing the intent of it. Not just having like, oh, this be good, or maybe that, but actually like working toward creating that as well and manifesting those kind of things. You know, maybe the Knight of Cups is the result of getting the help from the Imagine card. But I think you have a very clear path in how things are like set up here, like the underlying energy being the completion of a cycle, the successful, specifically, completion of a cycle. It was this like habit or way of being or person, whatever had the power over you in the past with the devil, healing from that in the present, things clearing up and becoming very obvious and fast, and things picking up, and like the information is there and obvious to you in the future with the Eight of Wands. Yes, there is this difficult decision that you have to deal with. Like, yes, there is this difficult decision to deal with in the Two of Swords in your crowning or your advice card. And it is causing you inner turmoil, I think, with the Five of Wands in your feelings. But then the importance of dealing with these decisions in your crowning are kind of reiterated with the Hanged Man in your outside influence. Like, he needs some kind of information, he gets a new perspective, he looks at things differently. And of course the extremely understandable, like, it feels like worry to me about the Three of Swords, about not being able to heal, about those swords still being there despite having worked so hard with the Emperor and the Seven of Pentacles. But then also the possible outcome then of the Knight of Cups, of this friendship or this love being offered, or maybe you are the Knight of Cups, maybe you're offering this to someone else, because of course you are a water energy. So it doesn't look easy, so I hope I don't make it sound like it's just going to be super easy. But you know, you do have these oracle cards backing you up, talking about the healing, and that seems to be requiring a lot of focus right now, but also getting in the mindset of manifestation. What is it you want? How are you going to manifest those kind of results? So there we are. That was your reading for November. The energies were pretty tough in some regards this time around. I did my best with all of your readings, but sometimes it just doesn't come together without a struggle, you know? Before I go, I'd like to wish you a happy Halloween once again, and remind you that if you want to contact me about a personal reading or check out the decks I use, the information is in the description box below. I'd also like to thank all of you for watching and supporting me. I do read all your comments and reply to as many as I'm able to. Once again, thank you and happy Halloween.